Life, self-discipline. That is what life should be, right? You know, getting out of bed is self-discipline because you're doing something that's not really easy to do, right? You know? So right there is your first step of self-discipline. Thanking God and talking to God and asking for favors from God and being thankful and appreciative and giving your pain and grief and sorrows to God, that's discipline because you're giving something up that's hard to let go because self-forgiveness is something else that's pretty tricky to do. But giving that to God, now that self-discipline is pretty darn amazing. And you feel good after it, right? Reading a book, man, that's a lot of patience. All the words, scriptures, verses. The Bible is pretty darn amazing. And that's not even the beginning of what glorious truly has held for us. You know, it's pretty amazing what we have that God gave us. You know, it's a trip, but full of glory. You know, life is an amazing thing, but self-discipline would really help us a lot in this generation, knowing that, you know, there's all kinds of stuff out there that are not good for us. You know, reading books, talking to God, do some cardio, work out, indoors, outdoors, try both. Why not try one of each? You know, it doesn't hurt to try something new. It doesn't hurt to try something again. Because you have legs, take it a spin. That was kind of cheesy, but what can I say? I like cheese. Grilled cheese. Grill it. You know what I mean? I know I'm pretty goofy, but that's the point. You see, I have that goofiness in me, and I like that, you know, because it's good to have that goofy side of yourself, that character that you can be here and there once in a while, time and place. It really matters where and when, you know, but I like to be funny. I like to be goofy. It helps throughout the day, for sure, because 24 hours, it's not short, it's not long, but there are certain things you want to do to take away time. Well, being positive really does take away the time. The more you have fun, wow, that's what happens when you have fun. Time flies by. You know, when you enjoy life, you get so far in life, you don't even want to go back to all the pain and all the grief and all the sorrow, but give it to God for a better tomorrow. You know, every minute is another reset, you know, and that's the best part about life. Discipline is the greatest thing to do, but discipline has always got to be working out or just eating healthy. For example, what I do is I eat healthy, I work out, I talk to God, I read the Bible. But sometimes we get stuck in life, we don't know what to do. Our head gets all scrambled like scrambled eggs. I get that. It's not like a whole egg. It's all scrambled eggs, right? Your brain's just like you can't figure it out. And that's why audiobooks are pretty amazing. Like the internet. It's pretty chaotic, but it's pretty amazing. It can help us get through life. Like the world is pretty chaotic, but there's also a lot of beauty. Look at Mother Nature. Look at God's country. There's always good in something bad, but there's always bad in something good. Right? Like an up and down. You know, you're going up, but you're scared to go down. You go down, but you're scared to go up. You know, that's why it's good to work on yourself with God, and be appreciative, be thankful. Be like, oh my gosh, I'm alive today, I'm thankful. You know, life is an amazing thing that a lot of people don't get to experience. And we all know that there's great things. That's why we're still alive. That's why we're still here. That's why we're still going to continue. Hopefully, please do that, right? You know, if you're having a hard day, go get coffee. Go have pie with some tea or something. Or lemonade. Lemonade with pie? Grab a friend. Then talk about some faithful conversations, like what God has done for your life. What you've accomplished yesterday. And if it wasn't a good day yesterday, then make that moment good and make tomorrow even better. Motivate yourself for the better tomorrow. You know, go get a treat for yourself. Give yourself some self-appreciation. If you live by a beach, sit in the sand, bury your feet in the sand, and take in the nice breeze and the nice ocean. Awesome. And if you don't live by a beach, then go for a hike somewhere, walk around town, and kind of take in what life can truly be, art. Life is kind of art. Well, I mean, it's kind of, but sometimes there's things that are falling apart. And that's not really art. It's kind of downing and kind of sad, but you're still standing. You're still standing. That's pretty amazing. I gotta say, that's pretty amazing. You're standing, right? I don't know. That's awesome right there, my friend. Amazingly, fantastically awesome. amazingly, I don't know, I'm trying to make up a word here. But, you are enough. You are more than enough. You don't need to impress people. You don't need to downgrade on yourself when you're already upgrading every day you're living, right? Try something new, learn something new on the internet. If you don't know 2 plus 2, then learn 2 plus 2. We always have 5 minutes for everything, but make sure those 5 minutes are going to go to God. God is going to help you with a lot of things in life. Holy moly, I'm learning verses and scriptures. I know my family wants me to learn all these things. I'm trying. I pray every single day, and I've been on the Bible practically every single day, and that's the thing. I'm still learning. See, that there's your example right there. We all learn, but we can't compare. We're not going to get anywhere. Because when we're comparing, what are we doing with ourselves? Nothing. We're worried about what they're doing. What? You got that and I didn't? Like, for example, they got chocolate ice cream. You can get chocolate ice cream. Go get it then. Don't compare what people have in life. You just have to work harder for it. But that means you'll appreciate it even more. And you know that you're capable of more. That's pretty amazing. And that's when you start thanking yourself, appreciating yourself. And if you don't know where to start, well, you got out of bed. That's the best step you can do. Because that means you can do anything right now, right? Life is a one-time thing, man. I'm going to live it to the fullest. I'm going to be goofy, I'm going to make people's day just by giving them positive compliments, just by being a support beam for people, just by being nice and courteous and gentle and peaceful. Love, strength, wisdom, love, peace, and faith are amazing words to use, You want that, You want to be encouraging, you want to be loving, you want to be kind, you want to be supporting. But remember, it's better to love yourself first. Because you don't know what you're going to be doing with other people if you don't love yourself. But if you love God first, He'll show you how to love yourself. He'll show you what you need to know. It's going to be tricky at first if you're not a believer. But that's the best part. Because that beginning of that feeling is like, whoa. Everything's opening. Everything is making sense. Everything is being answered. I feel joy. I feel power. Thank you, Christ. That's the thing about life. Live it. Live, love, and learn. We're living, we're learning, we're loving. The more we live, the more we get to knowledge what love is. And that is taking care of ourselves. And that's how we know to take care of other people. If you're healthy, of course, I hope you are. You better be healthy out there, all right? I'm so happy to be alive. And, there's points in my life where I didn't. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to live. I want to give up. But the more I lived, the more I found better people, the more I found what God wanted for me. It was like, whoa, pretty cool. Wait a minute. Okay, yeah, And that's the thing, for a couple months now, it's been like that. It's been like, whoa, okay, yeah, that's good. Yes, that's cool. That's great. God is good. God is great. He is. There's nothing wrong with God. He's going to give us challenges. He's going to give us ice cream, but rocky road. Yeah, it's going to get rocky on the road we go on. That was cringe, but that was also kind of funny, right? No? Okay. I love life. And I thought I would never say that. But the more I lived and forgive and live. That's the best thing you can do. Forgive yourself. You're going through a lot in life. Learn with yourself. You're going to learn a lot in life, and love yourself. You're going to love a lot in life. You're going to let go of a lot in life. You're going to, wonder what life is about. God. You are beautiful the way you are. If you're a woman, you don't need to feel insecure about yourself. You're a body of art. God made you piece by piece. Every speck of hair on your body, your head, He put on. He sewed you together. No, you're not some doll or dummy that He made. He made you through love. That's why you have a heart that pumps every day and every morning. And when you're waking up, you're feeling that in your chest. That's your heart. And like every thread of my hair, like this piece of hair that's hanging off my head. Yeah, that's just amazing. But there we go. What was I saying? You know, you don't need to feel like you're not enough. You don't need to feel, oh my, this piece of hair is gonna drive me crazy. All right. You know, you don't need to feel that. You are enough. You know, life is a tricky task, but the way you are is a beautiful way you are. And, you know, the more you laugh, you realize that's the best medicine. Because when you laugh, you're not negative anymore, you're not sad, you're feeling good about your life, you know, and this is gonna make people laugh probably. I have no idea. It's kind of annoying. This hair is annoying me, but I love it. Absolutely love it. It's nice hair. I love it. Yeah. You know, we just gotta live. We just gotta love people as well, even if we don't like people. Or, you know, I love people, so it's not hard for me to do, but it's harder for other people to do. But that's okay. We're all different the way we are. That's why we're alive, is we get to experience different things with different people, different tasks, with different missions, with different people. You know, it's an amazing thing, and I'm gonna do big things in my life, and you are too. But you gotta continue. You have to live. You have to go and get up every morning. And yeah, work is gonna be not fun, but also can be. If you're positive, you're kind of making it fun. If you're positive, you're spreading that around the room with other people, and it's more motivating to be in a positive room because everyone's laughing around, joking around, talking, having good conversations, getting things done. When you're motivatedly positive, you're getting more things done because you're motivated to get things done when you're more in a happy mood, because you want to continue that. Then nothing can really stop you. But then when you get sad, you remember how good it feels to be positive and motivated to do good through positive. And then you don't want to be sad anymore. You don't want to be mad anymore. You don't want to have depression. When you get depression, you give it to God right off the bat. You're like, here, take this. I don't want it. I don't need it. You know what to give me already, happiness and joy. So you give to everybody else to keep them going. You know, and that's truly how you live life. It could be a big change, yes, if you're not used to it. Like this hair in my face, I'm used to it, but some people are not. You know, we're all different, and different days, different people. I'm going to be different some other days. Some people are going to be different some other days. We all have different personalities. We all have different styles, different voices, different looks, but we're all a one gender, two gender, boy, girl. That's about it. Unless you're a transformer, then, you know, I pray for you. I do, you know. Women are beautiful people. They're wonderful. You know, they make art by making people with man. And, you know, that's pretty amazing. You know, God was willingly enough to accept that child being born to change people's lives. You know, parents these days don't appreciate what's around them all the time. You know, parents, if you have a roof over your head, if you have a vehicle, if you have kids and animals and a job that you go to, you are rich. Your heart is there, your mind is there. Difficulties are going to be everywhere. You're going to deal with more, but you have more. You know, life isn't going to be that simple anymore, but you're stronger, and you're getting stronger every day just by living every day and conquering that with God every day. You don't need to conquer things alone. You can conquer with God every day because you're not alone. You're not even close to being alone. You know, you're on God's team. And this piece of hair is so mean. You know, life is an obstacle course. You just got to get it right. But if you get it wrong, you can always get it right again. Try again, try again. If you're not a believer and it's hard to get in, then try again, try again. Do it right now. What's stopping you? Think about it. If you're stuck, what is stopping you? What is in your way? You can go around it. You can find a way. God can help you. Jesus will walk with you. The Holy Spirit is always in you, telling you the right thing to do. You know, have trust in the Lord. Have faith, you know. Carry a cross around you just to have that physical, even though the deepest is emotional. Emotions are stronger than physical emotions, right? And God is all both. You know, God heals our scars. He heals our wounds. He heals our pain. Christ wipes our cries. You know, it took me a while to get far and not, you know, doubt myself and compare myself lower. And sometimes I'll make those mistakes. I'll compare myself lower. I'll go down on myself and say, I'm not good enough. I'm not enough for this or that. What am I doing? But then I realize how far I am in life, and I go, wait a minute, what am I doing? What am I doing? I have this, that, and this, and I have me, I have God, I have family, friends, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? That, I give to God. And it makes me realize what I have. Like this annoying piece of hair, I have it. It's annoying, but it's there. It's like me, for example. I'm really annoying, but I'm there. Yeah, we all get that feeling, don't we? Wow. Okay, but ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you in another video. You matter. You're more than enough. God says so every day. And He doesn't change.